Alright, so we're down in the hole. Exciting times ahead. We got the crane in action. You can see they have that, I don't know what you call it, a bar cradle or whatever, but it has all these straps that have these screw-in couplings that you have the ability to grab those panels at multiple points. Obviously lift that up. The crane is situated so that it can pretty much do the whole foundation from that one position. And if you look over here, you can see these are those points that they're lifting it by. So they're grabbing these pins here, which are cast down into the foundation wall to give it the ability to grab it at any given point, lift it up, and then that thing is going to fly down. So we have this, what I spoke of earlier, the under garage basement. This little U shape here is actually a stairwell, so you'll be able to go from the basement up to the floor level of the garage above. So got panels flying in. You can see it there. So don't want to drop that. It'd be a bad day. I don't think the hard hat will help much either. Oh, it's one of the shear walls. I gotcha. All right. So, the piece that we're actually bringing in is one of the shear walls. So, because we have this large open span, that's, I don't know, we're probably on the order of about 48 or 54 feet long here inside. We need to develop some shear in this direction. And so we have these two 8-foot panels that are going to come off of that one high point there beside the double garage door and single. And then right in here, you can see they're applying some sealant against the wall there. And this panel is going to fly in and sit and get bolted right in there. And then this is going to act, I think in civil engineering they call it a counterford, right? Where you basically put a wall perpendicular to the other wall in terms of shear resistance. Sometimes it could be called a buttress. You know, buttresses were more for pushing out, but here, see, you can drop that in, set that down. Go. So yeah, it might only be a shear panel in the middle, but pretty much every panel gets installed the same way, right? You grab it up on top, the hooks, bring it down. You know, one of the beauties of this is that the whole basement system is going to get set in 3 days. So obviously they've been doing some site work and getting stone and all that stuff in here, but the reality is the whole foundation system from start to finish of concrete is a 3-day schedule. So we're obviously on the last day. As you can see, there's a lot happening around us here, but yeah, once that gets put in, then we'll have the required shear resistance, and we'll have another one over there. So we'll have basically a 3-bay system down in the basement, just like we have upstairs. You know, these 8-foot walls. I'm gonna drop it down. Why don't we take a walk around on the other side? See what the inside of the panel looks like. And again, one of the beauties of these panels is that you use a lot less concrete here, as well as they all get fully insulated, all of the panels there, and then we'll pour our slab up and into each of those holes. Now, you can see here, while the guy stepped away, there's actually a little channel in there where they have the ability to put the bolt in, and they'll tie that in and literally bolt the system together. There's another one up on top there that also very similar to that, where they have that ability to just put that bolt in there. I don't know if you want to come around here, might be able to catch them putting that bolt in. Oh yeah. So, just you know, literally bolt on. And then one of the things I wanted to show you here, this is a really good example. You can see here, you know, this is basically the thickness of the skin. So the panels really draw their strength from, just like what this shear wall is doing to this larger wall, these smaller little ribs are doing it to each of the panels. So we have insulation here, but there's concrete inside of these ribs. So when you think of this as like a double T beam, right? You see those in parking garages all the time, where they have the little stems that come down and then a plank across. Well, this is pretty much the same basic structural physics. It's just put in a vertical system here. So anyways, you got to see that shear panel get installed. Why don't we take a tour and we'll talk a little bit more about Superior walls. All right, so we got panel number 2, shear wall coming in. See it getting flown down. A couple things I wanted to chat about. They have the sealant along the wall that will bed that face. The sealant that they're using is Sikaflex. It's an adhesive sealant here. So they'll put that up against the wall, but also when they marry the panels, there's 3 beads of this. There's an outside bead, there's an inside bead, and then there's the bead that runs down the middle of those butt joints. So we get that 3 triple seal, and as you can see, we have our second shear wall coming in here. Now, one of the things you might ask is, why do we have wood on the end? Well, Superior Wall does a really good job of planning for things in the future, such that by having the wood end now, that's required. But if you wanted to come in here and say put a wood partition wall or something down here in the workshop, you don't have to figure out how am I attaching that to the concrete. It's how am I attaching that to the wood frame now, so it can be easily received. And you can see this one here also, you know, it has it. So any of those exposed ends, they have that double trimmer of treated wood there, so that you have that nice ease of putting it together. So we'll just, only because it's so cool, just take another quick shot of this one coming down in. It's, I always find it really interesting that you have this very large crane this way up into the sky, but yet that guy can just dial in, you know, fractions of an inch of movement on these panels and just, you know, get it set just perfectly. So yeah. All right. There's still a lot more to see. Why don't we, we'll break from this. We saw that first panel go in. Take a walk in and we'll check out what's happening in the rest of the basement here. So let's head on over.